Welcome back on your own book summary channel Booksica. Start without fear. Today's book summary. Have you always wanted to learn something new, but never learn what you keep promising yourself? That you will find time to learn a new hobby or a new skill, but you do not have time at all for all this. In this book you will learn how you can learn a new skill quickly. Then you can learn to write calligraphy. There are many skills that you can learn. The best thing is that you do not have to step out of your house to learn all this. You can learn any new skill quickly. Only 10 principles have to be known. These 10 principles will guide you how you can reduce the first 20 hours of your start. Very simple and easy to learning. Like all of us author's mother want to learn a lot inside this book, but they also have shortage of time. Their bookshelf has many books. They are engaged. They have made a long list in which they have written what they want to do in life and what skills they want to learn. Author has a lot of brilliant history, but he does not understand how to make this history a reality. I promise myself that I will play golf and rock climbing, but I can never do it. Now you must be thinking that hey, he is like me. No, developing this skill is very frustrating. You have to practice a lot for this. And it seems as if saris will be worn for this. According to a research, if you want to be very good in something, then you will have to practice for about 10,000 hours, if you want to understand how much time it is. Understand that this is almost like reducing flower time by 5 years in one phase, so yes, it really sucks, but there is good news before going back. Know one thing, 2 Ericsson studies were related to expert level performance. Had studied, they were such people who were practicing something from their childhood. This is called deliberate practice. That is, this 10,000-hour rule was applicable only to those people who were experts in their respective fields. But if you want to learn a skill to the right level, then what if you have to learn the game of golf as much as you can play it with your friends and enjoy it? Then will you be happy to know that then you will not have to spend 10,000 hours at all? If you want to learn a new skill, then you will have to practice for 20 hours. Compared to 10,000 hours, this 20 hours is very less, isn't it? According to this book, having skill does not mean that you have to become a pro, but learn a skill enough that you can master the skill properly. Is there a difference between mastering a skill and learning a skill? Author's mother taught Spanish in high school. But now they can't hold a conversation in Spanish even for 5 seconds. One of Author's friends who speaks Spanish and wanted to learn to speak English, but he didn't take a single English class. Instead, he learned how to speak English. He didn't know how, but now he can speak English. Carlos always continued to interact with people in English, so you can't perfect a skill just by learning it. But for this, you will have to practice a lot like Carlos and use passion of mother suggests that when you do these steps, then find out what passion tone you have to learn during it. If you have any, if you have a passion for some time, then you give your life to learn it in a big way. Now you would think that having these tips is an obvious thing, which is actually the case, but just knowing these steps is not enough. You will also have to practice now. See 10 steps by which we can do the skill quickly. 1. You choose your very favorite project. For this you have to take such a project for which you are very excited to learn the skill. Author says that he wanted to learn to write Chinese Mandarin, but he didn't have the time to learn it, so he decided to put his energy and love into the story. Live with a Strong Desire to Learn is a strategic board game that originated in China because now author had more desire to learn KO, so he decided to learn it first. He left KO for later. He knew that he would have time if you focus on learning. Then with the help of this, you can learn to run quickly later. You are the focus of your energy. Focus on only one skill at a time. Author has made the same mistake many times in his life, but many of them together obsessed with learning the skill. They waste so much time switching between these skills that they end up teaching you nothing. You have to spend your time concentrating and focusing on one skill at a time. Should be dedicated if you spend your time and energy in learning swimming stitch and 10 more skills at the same time, then all this will be useless. The amount of concentration and attention you can give to improve one skill will not be enough. That's why only more pick just one skill. In the book Getting Things Done, David Allen has a tip for this tenacity. If you need help focusing on one skill, make a list of the things you might someday do. Write in the big of things which you want to do but not now. Later your brain will understand that all these things are on hold status. By doing this you will not think about them now, and then the answer will be new. If you want to learn skill, then only your brain will change it from on hold to active status free. Tell what will be your target performance level. To do this you have to ask yourself, how good I want to be in this skill. You can calculate how much time and effort you will have to spend for this, then you will easily master that skill. For example, suppose you want to learn to play the guitar, then you can practice playing a song in the guitar, even if you have only one song. You know how to play guitar, but you can prove to everyone that you know how to play the guitar. The more relaxed your target performance level is, the faster you will be able to master any skill. Divide the 4 skills into subskills. Too much to make it manageable, we can break the skill down into smaller parts. Let's take golf as an example. To know which club you like to play, but also the correct position of the track body, etc. when you play. If you divide this skill separately, then you will understand that which factor is more important for you to learn. In other complicated and technical things, you can learn later also. Always remember to bring 5 tools which are very important. That just by learning, we cannot do any skill, you have to practice it. You cannot practice tennis if you do not have a tennis racket. To play basketball, you will first need a ball, so you will need those necessary tools. Identify what you need to practice doing so will save you time. 6. Remove every barrier to practice. Author has identified 3 barriers to practicing a skill. The first barrier is resource availability. It means that the tools you need for practice are not available. For the exam, the ground has been washed out due to rain, or the equipment you have has been taken from someone else. The second obstacle is the destruction in the environment. What's stopping you from practicing is you looking at your phone, watching TV, or checking your email. All this is called environmental extraction. Finally, the third obstacle is your emotional block. Whenever you want to learn something new, you must have a dedicated time to practice. The biggest problem lies in wanting to reduce our procrastination habit. We promise ourselves to reduce it, but still we are not able to reduce it. We get lost on our phone, or we make someone our sister. If you really have a skill, then you have to take time for it. Yes, you have other responsibilities, but still you can take a few minutes out of your day to practice the skill. This is for the people. How do you spend your time? You should sit down and write down what you did for the next couple of days. Author did just that and was surprised to find that he could spend a lot of time on a skill. Making a promise beforehand for the practice can also encourage you to practice. You must push yourself for 20 hours of practice. If you make such a promise to yourself, you will not back down easily, so keep telling yourself. If only you have to practice for 20 hours, then it will be over. You have to create a loop so that you keep getting feedback quickly. By getting quick feedback, you can skill as soon as possible if you do not know what you are going to learn. Whether it is correct or not, then there may be delay in your learning. For example, there is fast feedback in programming any computer. And there are encouragements to improve further. Apart from this, a coach also helps in giving fast feedback. They will tell you immediately if you ever make a mistake, and if you do not have a coach, then you can record your video while practicing. With this, you will be able to tell yourself by looking at the video that whatever you are doing is right or wrong. Practice for a little fear by looking at the clock. In the beginning of skill practice, you will feel like a lot of time. Running slowly, you will feel like you are practicing with a lot of fear, while you have spent only 5 minutes. To solve this, you can use the timer. With the help of this timer, you have made a practice session of only 20 minutes, but it so make a promise to you that as soon as the timer starts, you will start practicing and will not stop until 20 minutes are beat. After that, you can take a break of 10 minutes and again start the timer for practice. It should be made you should do it as soon as possible, but at the same time you should also focus on improvement. You should not forget that you have to practice the skill continuously for yourself. Learning is not enough, but learning is a big part of it. Before practicing your skill, you should do research. By doing this, you will save more time and energy. By doing research, you will also know which subskills you should learn first. To learn your target skill effectively, here are some principles that you have to follow. Do research on the skill and related topics, either by searching on the internet or by bringing it from a bookstore. You have at least 3 sources for your research. You don't have to read these books or manuals, or you don't have. ANS suggests that you just have to understand these sources a little. Once you understand them, you will know which of these ideas can be used again and again. It has been done so much it may mean that this idea skill is very important for practice because you have already researched. That is why now you will know which factors you have to focus more on. Can be done in such a situation that you do not know much. If you have confusion, even if you do not understand the matter, do not send it to him by talking. But if you do not understand the meaning of a matter, then next time do research in it and then apply it in the next practice. Understand it but reduce it. The less confusion you have, the faster you will learn. Mental models of your thinking. Mental models and mental books. You have to keep these models with you because it will help you to learn quickly. With the help of these mental models, you will be able to understand the connection between anything and the idea, as well as you will be able to explain it to other people who have not understanding the concept. Like once author tried to help his dad build a website. Author found it very difficult to explain the process of website to his dad because his dad didn't understand any term. But a term server it came in front of him many times. Then when author's father understood the meaning of server, then he easily understood the head process of making a website. On the other hand, mental hack uses analogies and metaphors, so that you can understand new concepts. Find if you don't know the meaning of server, then remember, a web server also does the same thing. When you are looking for a page, then the server finds it for you. It gives web page, and if not found then server, tells error 404 page not found 4. Think exactly opposite of what you want. This technique is version, which is a problem-solving technique. It will help you to learn essential thing like suppose you have to do believe it is an activity in which you have been given the task of steering a boat in the middle of fast-flowing river water full of stones. Now, with the help you can imagine that what happens if you do everything wrong? You might overturn your boat and your head will drown. You can even fill the boat with water, which will probably drown you. You can fall off the boat and drown because the rivers are very fast. It's all about amazing doing. You will know what you have to learn to save yourself from these dangerous situations. The process will be slow. Before practicing, remove your electronic distractions like TV and phone. Do only those tools which are very important for your practice, your family, friends in your company, your biological distractions, which reduce your practice session. Do not disturb them. So you should tell them in advance that you will not be present at the time of practice. Continue to reinforce your ability to remember. 6. Our brain always takes in a lot of information. It's never perfect. If you need to remember certain information, you need to reinforce it so that it is stored in your long-term memory. Practice becomes much easier when you have a method for reducing any checklist. You can always remember what you need to practice, and the scaffold reminds you that you always have to approach a skill the same way. A great example of a scaffold is the basketball player, who whenever he throws then he relaxes his shoulders, and takes a long breath. Listen to your biology. If your body and mind are stopping you from practicing, you must stop. Inside the Power of Fools Engagement book by Tony Schwartz. According to Tony, our mind and body are able to concentrate on something completely for only 90 minutes. As soon as 90 minutes are over, your mind and body give you rock. At such a time you set the timer. If you find it too long to practice 90 minutes, then you can divide it into small parts. You can practice for 20 minutes, then you can take a break for 10 minutes, and after the break again you can start practicing from this book. In the first 20 hours of the beginning to learn, how can you do any skill? You will not have to spend 20,000 hours because only a world-class performer has had to put in so much dedication and effort. If you want to enjoy a new hobby or build a little self-confidence, then 20 hours is enough. You have also learned that what is the difference between learning a skill and just learning it. Skill is the best way to develop it. It is necessary to learn to practice, but skill cannot be acquired only by learning. You also know how to apply it. To master any skill well, you have to follow 10 principles. 1. Choose a project you love. 2. Keep your focus only on skills. 3. You should already know to what level you have to reach your performance. 4. Divide all the skills into subskills so that you are not worried about too many. 5. Before you start practicing, prepare everything. 6. Break everything that bothers you. 7. Commit to spending at least 20 hours together. 8. Get fat feedback. 9. Divide 20 hours into 20 minutes. 10. Aim for speed and quantity. If you like this book, then like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay connected with Booksica channel. Keep learning.